What if any implications does that have with in regard to scripture and the idea that there is a creator of a multiverse or the universe?
Well, that's a great question, and that's why that's what I wrestled with when I first started thinking about this. Is, you know, I mean, I was kind of marshaling these arguments about, oh, the multiverse doesn't exist, and then a question just kind of stopped me in my tracks. What if it's actually true? Would that mean Christianity's wrong? And so I just went and I started thinking about the question you just asked. And what had occurred to me was this: when you look at scripture, there's this, God created this universe. God created the angelic realm. God's going to create a new heaven and earth that when this one has served its purpose. The Bible actually talks about a multiverse of sorts. So the idea that there are different realms out there is really not, that's not an unscriptural idea at all. There's what's scripture talks very strongly about our universe having a beginning. And so that's where I think, does the multiverse remove a beginning? Well, I think as I've looked into it, no, it really doesn't seem to move a beginning. In fact, I think it strengthens the case for a beginning. So it doesn't violate scripture in that regard. We could ask the question, does a multiverse, does that kind of fit? I mean, it's like, you know, what, you know, we're sort of concerned about all of these other universes out there, as though I'm not entirely sure why we're concerned about them, because if you think about it, God only needs one star and one earth. In fact, he wouldn't even need a star. All he needs is an earth with some sort of suitable energy source, and he could create life there. But in doing that, in creating life, he not only created the earth and the sun and all the planets, he created a galaxy that has 400 billion stars in it, and he created trillions of galaxies, so that there's, just within our observable universe, there are a trillion stars, which is a phenomenal number. It's larger than the number of grains of sand on the surface of the earth. And so the idea that, you know, the part of the chafing, a part of my chafing against a multiverse was, well, it seems kind of wasteful. Well, if we're going by that standard, this universe is already incredibly wasteful. So, you know, God's not like, well, it'll be easier if I did it this way, or if he created a multiverse, we have no problem with him creating a universe with trillion stars. Why would we have why would we have a problem with him using a multiverse to create a universe where we can live? Except that now this kind of weighs in on that design. You know, is the universe designed or tuned, or does it have any purpose to it? And that gets a little bit more complicated. But even in the multiverse, if you want to argue that we have any meaning, that we're not simulations, that we're not just random conglomerations of atoms that become conscious, then you end up with fine tuning in the universe, or design or purpose, if you will. So the multiverse seems to fit very comfortably within Orthodox Christian thought.